All right, hello everyone. So this is Thursday. Let's get smashing. Now this is gold from yesterday. Now with gold, I also put a post on Twitter yesterday. If you're following it, this was the Astro Hour. This was the Astro Hour in the morning, and the market came to this level, Astro Hour, yesterday. I in fact posted this up on there. If you're following on Twitter, it's actually a good idea to follow, which is right there. All right. So the market made that sweep and then pushed up right there on the Astro Hour. Now, this was a bit of a tricky day. I'll tell you why. When I posted this as well, I also put here the targets, if you're following, right? So one of the targets was right there, okay, which was under the previous day high, which was under the opening and the closing of yesterday. And as you can see, the other one's at 2,299. Why? Because I had a 2,300 target. Where did I get a 2,300 target from? Well, that was from the PST on the 1 hourly, because I had this yesterday. So I was following it on here, all right? And because I had this on here, it was just, basically, it was just, I was following it on here. So from this zone onwards, I had that target up there. That's why it kind of like went into that zone, 2,300. So 2,300 is also a nice round number, which we can trade off. And this was an Astro Hour right now. And these are the next Astro Hours coming in. If the market is up here in these Astro Hours, it's also worth selling if it's on a high. Now, on the monthly, we still have that 2,340 level, which we marked in before, as you know. Okay. But at the end of the day, we need to pop down to go back up, or we need to be around in this zone to kind of pick up and so on. All right. This is the previous day low. And why did it get there? Why did it come here? Well, first of all, it was an Astro Hour. Nice and easy, okay? And the second thing is there was a gap here which the market filled out, all right, which is exactly there, all right, that little gap there. The market came, filled it in nice and easy. If you got in there, the stop loss would have been really tight, okay? So no big deal. And then you just let it ride. It hit the first target, broke out, and then as you can see, Astro Hour again just pushing forward and up. Now with gold, because we have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as a possible swing day, from the highs we want to sell again, all right? So just be mindful about that 2,340. If in the New York session, tomorrow we've got non-farm payroll, so you got to be careful. If in the New York session the market sweeps up, you can also sell off, all right? If it sweeps the highs of London, Asia, and then comes back in, and we have an Astro Hour, then you can turn around with it. If that's the case, that's how we'll kind of head in. Okay, in the interim though, don't muck around, because on the monthly, we've just got a little bit of room to go still to hit 2,340 or 2,365, which is the blue line. So that's gold. Let's take a look at euro dollar. Now with the euro dollar, yesterday I did say this zone could be shorted. If you know technical analysis, and if you were following it through, because yesterday, remember, I had a short in here, right? And the minute the market came down, I took profit. The market already covered itself here. If you follow yesterday's video, I actually did it right on the video. The trade covered itself on the next 15-minute bar straight away, came all the way into this zone. And by the time we came here, you see Astro Hour and the market not pushing down at all. So this is where the market was turning. So buying here was then an option. And I would have done it if I was not trading the gold. But if you're following the euro dollar, all right, so selling from the highs, the trade is covered, you got some profit. Market comes here, you see the higher highs, higher lows, sorry. Okay. Now, what did you have to be careful about here? This is a technical analysis situation. The low of the previous day, which was Monday, got taken out. The market closed with a high. So after going down, all those reds, all right, going down, 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 market takes out the stops, closes above. What is that telling us? It's telling us that possibly we're going to go up the other way. So despite the fact that I sold off, the market comes here and blasts off. Now, if you sold in this zone, because these price levels I did give yesterday, and these were Astro hours, if you sold here, you would have had a tight stop loss, nothing too big. Yesterday, if you saw where my stop losses, you would have known that I'm not taking a lot of risk because we don't have to. Because if I enter a trade here, my stop loss was about here. So it was very, very close. And this is why the market immediately went down, covered one of my positions, and the rest was easy. We just got out here, and that's fine. All right. So at the end of the day, that's the kind of option we're talking about. And just be mindful, tomorrow we've got non-farm payroll. So on the daily, we're in this zone. This is not a bad sell setup at all. So expecting a downfall from here is okay. As you know, these lines I put in last week when we were selling from here. So once again, coming up to sell is a possibility. It's also a good buy kiss from this zone. All right. So the market's coming up for a good buy kiss, and that's also possible to push back down. We're okay with that too. On the weekly, on the monthly, let's take a look, because on the monthly we had a breakdown, so we could sell off. I say we can still sell off after this impulse wave, and A, B, C should make a lower low. So what I'm going to do is, work on the sell side of things. Okay, we could do that from the previous week's high as well. So if the market goes up tomorrow, for example, on Friday, if the market goes up after the news, breaks the previous week's high, and then closes back in on Monday, we'll look for a sale. All right. By the way, I won't be able to do a video tomorrow. I'm traveling. Okay, so I'm going to our summer house. So what I will do though is I'll try to make videos from there as well as usual. Okay, so but Friday, as you know, I don't work on Friday anyway, so that's how it is. All right. Okay, let's go. Right, so in addition to that, let's see what we've got on the euro dollar. One little trick here is we've got this price level, so don't be rushing if you want to sell. This 56 on the daily is 1.0873. 1.0873, as you can see, is above the previous week's high. So going up here is logical. All right. So going up to retest that is logical. So if the market comes down at 10:30, let's say, or 11 or 1:45, whatever, and you want to push this up, it's doable. Also, you can do that at 4:45 and 6:45, depends where we are in the market. Okay, so the market can come down and then go up, but that's a nice target even for tomorrow. Tomorrow it'll change because your PST value will change depending on what happens today. All right, so this is one way to follow it up. If you're using your ATAM strategy, you can go to the 1 hour chart to follow this through. Okay. Now this is the 1 hour chart. So let's wait for it to settle down. If it will settle down. Come on. There we go. All right. So this is what we've got, right? So the market should pull back down a little bit because we're pretty high, and that's fine. You see this big gap here. So where you want to go long is going to be around there. Okay, you can also draw your technical analysis lines here, as you can see. So like, for example, like going long is also okay because You got this on this bar here. You see, once this happens, and this blue circle will come up after 2 bars are completed. If you're following it, then you've got a divergence here. And then you've got this bar plus that bar, like giving you the heads up to kind of go up from the lows. All right. So you can really follow this. If you're using your ATAM, it's like a really good indicator, like selling from the highs if you're going to sell, buying from the lows. So in this manner as well, what we're going to have to do is put this on there. Now, the problem is if you're not using your ATAM, if you don't have this strategy, that's okay. Don't take this into consideration because this is the 1 hourly chart, and it's going to change. As the market changes, this will change, right? So don't get stuck on these numbers like 67 and 69 and say, well, I'm going to buy if it gets to 08, 39, 36, 35 zone and go long. Don't do that, okay? Because the setup will change. So what you can do with euro dollar, there's two folds, okay? This can either turn into a runner, which it looks like it's turning into a runner, and you can tighten this up, and then this will go, as you can see, into that zone. All right, that'll be your zone. This will be this will like break out into that zone. And if you want to buy, the best case scenario to go long would be down here. The second one would be down here at the low of Asia at an astro hour. So this will be a zone for you. This will be a zone for you. All right, just draw your lines and then match it to your astro hour. So if we come down into an astro hour, you can go up. All right. That's that. SP 500. SP 500 yesterday, after it did all the targets. Remember on the daily, we did the targets. Now we've got a new setup. Yesterday, I did say the market can go up into the HCL1 level. And at that time, this is the HCL1. I said you could sell if it was an astro hour. But remember yesterday, I had nothing here. So I said, you've got to be careful. There's news and so on. And also the Fed was talking. If you went long from here, which was the support of the day, okay, knowing that, the market's buying around here, if you went long, you should have made quite a bit of money going up into there. All right. Now, because there were no astro hours here, you would have needed to take that profit because that's a PST level and just get out, stay out and call it a day. All right. You don't want to keep, trading, and then all of a sudden, overdoing stuff. Get in and get out, right? So now what do we have? Well, we've got the previous week's high here on the daily. Let's see how things can pan out. That's a trend line there. Now here is a zone where the market has stalled because that's the low of the previous day, not Wednesday, but the day before. So like on Monday. So the market's kind of got a match of candles. This is why they shorted it there straight away, as you can see. Now the market's going sideways. So what we'd like to do is sell the highs at astro hours. That could be the weekly pivot. Okay, so the market can actually sell from around here. This is a good sweep, as you can see, sweeping London, New York high, closing back in. And the astro hour, the first astro hour for today is actually 10:30. The reason it's 10:30 is because the other one at 4:15 was already done. So 10 past 4 is here. So we don't want to be worried about that. We don't want to talk about that because it's already done deal. So this is all gone. 5:40 is there. And that's it. So you don't want to think about this at the moment. What you got to do is you got to look forward into the future and then check out those hours. So we've got 10:30 there. We've got 145 here. We've got 420. Whoops. So from 420 until 450, which is on that bar, and 645 is there. And then, once we find the direction, guys, which I think we'll probably find after 145, then the market should flow. All right. And that flow should take us into 830 and towards possibly the closing. But 830, you've got to be careful. It's probably going to be a support or resistance, depends on what you're trading. I suspect it will break. Okay, I'm suspecting it will break, and then we should get to 1130 actually, and closing. All right. So just mark it in like that, and then plan it out. So from the highs, I'm okay to sell and push down. Now, remember the swing days for the SP 500 as well is Monday and Thursday. So if Thursday we go end up high somewhere, selling is okay. And, that's basically it. So coming back up here to sell where they sold off is also okay. So just be smart. It's a swing day. It could do something crazy. And once it finds direction, if it starts to go up, obviously don't stand against it. Why? Because you might find the swing at 1130 and 140, right? The swing might be this because we're talking about a swing day. So until Thursday is over, any time can be a swing day, right? Swing hour. So if the market goes up into 11 o'clock, then that's your swing to come downwards. All right. So that 140 is actually also important. So this zone is a place where you're going to have to look out for. So we could be going up all this time. And then tomorrow with the news, we will be just shattering down. All right. So be smart. You see? That zone, that's the high of the week. This could go all the way into the high of the week, sweep everybody out, retrace, Friday retest the high or crash down. So that's what we can do. All right. Now the same thing can happen for NASDAQ and Dow Jones. So let's take a look at Dow and NASDAQ, see how things are going with them. Now, obviously, indices go together, right? So if I take a look at Dow Jones, this was a resistance level yesterday, and I talked about it. There's still a bit of targeting down here, but it looks like it's bounced off this price target here. Now, this is a good divergence level. The market might want to go up again and come into this zone and fill in the gap. And that's 39,710, right? So that could be all the way 39,710, which is pretty much your weekly pivot there. All right. That's on the daily. Okay, covering that. Now on the weekly, we've got a breakout on the PST. So going up to sell is looking okay. You can see we begin to have a divergence here. All right. That's your high. That's your second high. And the market's kind of like pushing down. And on the monthly, okay, we'll see it's done that target. It's done the price target, we can say. So selling off is not a bad idea. Now, do you want to buy in order to sell? It's an option, but you got to do it at the right time. Okay. Plus, we've got the non-farm payroll news happening tomorrow. So if you want to buy it, you got to buy the low. This is also a good, as you can see, trick. The market went below the low of the previous day, which is Tuesday, and then took everybody's stop out and then pushed up. So this again can be a good opportunity to go up, right? Into, first of all, this zone and possibly into there as well. All right, so we've got to like pan it out. Now with the news tomorrow as well, it could go up to the previous week's high and then like kind of crash down from there as well. If we get up here tomorrow at an astro hour, you need to also think about selling. But like I said, Friday I don't like to trade so much. But if you catch a position after the news, if the direction is clear for you after the news, and there's a sweep of stops at the highs and then going back down, you could actually trade it because you got the astro hours. Okay, this goes for everything. Nasdaq, let's take a look here as well. Now Nasdaq. All right, so weekly pivot is all in there. Let's take a look at the daily. We're in between the range. You see, we're right in the middle of the box here. So selling the highs is okay. Now, if it breaks above the box, don't stand in front of it, obviously. 62, 65, 18, 507, 434. 18, 434, 457 are these levels here, right? 18, 507, 434. Sorry, that should be 507 is right there. Okay, so it's just here. Whoops. 507. Okay, so mark that in. That's it. So this is going to be a zone, and this is looking good. It's above the previous week's high, so hitting it and then selling off again looks like an okay strategy, as you can see on the daily. On the weekly, we don't have a new setup here. This is a good breach, okay? And there's a lot of buying pressure here as well, but selling again is looking okay, in my opinion, if we get up to those prices at astro hours, all right? And then the market should bring us back down here or even lower to close this zone, all right? So we should end up down here before the market starts to take off and so on, all right? We'll see how that thing pans out. But that's how it is. So what do you want to do? If at astro hours we're down here, you can push up. Why? Because as you can see, this is an up day, right? So the market sold off. Then we've got a blue day. After a blue day, what you can do is if there's a pullback, you can go back up again. This will be your first target. If we break out, we should end up here. And then with the news, depending on what will happen with the news next week, we should be looking to sell off. Bitcoin. We're still down here in this zone, as you can see. And on the daily, let's see if anything's changed. Well, look, yesterday I drew this line. If you're using your ATAM strategy, well done. As you can see, these are the levels where you can like pick off. Okay, so you can just pick them up. This is also a good level where you can get out. Okay, so the market comes down, you know where to get out. Today, right here, we're in the middle of nowhere, so you don't want to be trading here. If the market goes back up, you can think about selling in this zone, in that zone. On the daily, 68,275. Well, which is pretty much that 68,275 is going to be there. All right, so this zone, and also what you have are these blue lines here, 48, 67235, 67235 is there. And that could also be, taking out of the previous day's high and then coming back in and then selling off. So you got to look out for this zone plus this zone here. Yeah, and that's basically it on that one. All right, 68,275. So I can get rid of this. Okay, I'll get rid of this as well. Right, the weekly pivot is an obvious one, as you can see. So you got to really match it. On the weekly, we've got a nice breach. So I'm suspecting the price should come into the 50,000 zone from here. Okay, so it's the beginning of a new cycle happening, which is fine. Actually, it started in January, and I talked about January as well. When the markets start pushing up, when I say January, I'm talking about 2023 January. Okay. As at the 12th of Jan, I said this could be bought, and that's how it panned out. All right. If the market comes back, which it should do, we should have a bit of a pullback. 6774, maybe 28,000 down. Let's see. Yeah, about the 40s. Yeah. All right. So we should pull back. All right. No buying at the tops. If you want to buy and hold as well, make sure we come down into the 40s zone here, this 48K, in fact, even lower. Okay. But if you buy here, sooner or later, it's going to go higher in any case. All right. And that's that for Bitcoin.